Hello, this is Pastor Jim Woodard with Word Pictures in Ancient Hebrew. Thank you for joining me once again as we look at Old Testament words which we have transposed into pictographs for the Hebrew alphabet. And when we do that, we discover that each letter of the Hebrew alphabet has a very special meaning that's portrayed by the picture that represents it. In this particular video, we're going to look at the word Shabbat. And as you'll see by the graphic on the screen, the word Shabbat is spelled with 3 Hebrew letters. And in their ancient format, they are the Shin, the Bet, and the Taw. Remember, we read right to left when reading Hebrew. The Shin looks much like a W. However, in the ancient culture that the Israelites lived in, the Bedouin culture, the Semite culture that they existed in, that Shin was the picture of 2 front teeth. And to them, 2 front teeth represented the idea of tearing, of ripping, or destroying. They might watch one animal pursue another animal until it caught it, and then as it began to prepare that animal for the evening meal, it would tear and rip and destroy the flesh of that animal. Of course, they knew that's the same process that they went through to eat the food that they consumed. So the Shin speaks to us of the idea of tearing, of ripping, of destroying, or of separating something. In the context of the word Shabbat, we're going to see that it means to separate. The second letter is a Bet. It's a very interesting letter because it's the picture of the floor plan of a tent. And therefore, the Bet speaks to us in its pictograph form of a tent, a home, a house, or being inside. So to the ancient Semite, once again, we have to think of the context that they saw this letter in. We've got the idea of separating and the idea of a tent or a house or a place like that. The third letter is what gives the word Shabbat its special meaning. It's the letter Taw. It's the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and it's represented by a picture, frankly, of just 2 crossed sticks. In that culture, however, those 2 sticks designated some very important things. For example, if you made an arrangement with your neighbor for a property line, you might go out and put 2 crossed sticks on the corner of your property and his property, and that designated an agreement you had made about who owned which piece of property. Later on, if you decided you may want to dig a water well and have your servants do that for you, you would put 2 cross sticks on the ground. X marks the spot. All of us have said that at some time or other. And then, of course, as documents became popular, you would need to verify that you were going to agree with something that was in the body of a document. Therefore, you would need to sign it. And in those cultures, in those days, you simply would put your X on it. You may have known someone still today that signs their name with an X because they can't read or write. And therefore, it carries the idea of agreeing to something in the body of a document, which means it's a covenant. So the word Shabbat has a very interesting meaning when we turn it into ancient pictographs. It means return to the house or the place of the covenant. You see, we look at the word today and we automatically think of a building of some type or some type of a specific activity that we're going to do on a certain day at a certain time, and we have a schedule, we do it repetitively. But I believe when God rested and took his Shabbat after the creation, and when he asked man to do the same thing, his request was that we would return to the place of the covenant that we had with him. It's very interesting because once Yeshua came along, the meaning changed a little bit. Now we don't return to the house of the covenant. We separate the house away to the covenant because we are the temple of the Spirit of God. It's a beautiful word, Shabbat, and I hope using the pictographs and learning what they mean and how they apply to this word, that word will bring you a special time of returning to the presence of your covenant. Have a great day. This is Pastor Jim with Word Pictures in Ancient Hebrew. Shalom.